And we're going to talk about meditation. And, I've got these pictures on display here. Some of these look really, peaceful. This is kind of new agey. Some people might be, oh, what is this new age crap? And this is what I want to do. My audience of supporters, followers of my journalism, and just friends who keep up with my work range from atheists who can put up with some of my spiritual talk, the spiritually curious who aren't really sure even what that word means, and others who are absolutely devoted to their passion and their beliefs, whether that's Christianity, whether that's Islam, whether that's something that you might term New Age, or native indigenous belief systems, and practitioners of meditation and yoga. This is the range of people that I talk to. So this video is going out to all of you, and I hope that you will learn something from this. I started out by saying, if you go to theconsciousresistance.com, my website, you can see that our logo is a meditating person sitting in this little halo with a banner that says the Conscious Resistance. And so, since that's in my logo, that's on our website, I figure I might as well explain to you, what does meditation have to do with my work. First, we're going to get a definition of meditation, and then we'll move to why I have this meditating person sitting in my logo, and what it means to the Conscious Resistance, what it means to you as an activist, and how it can help you. So first of all, meditation, let's get an official definition here real quick, and then I'll give you guys my definition and the definition that we wrote for my book, The Conscious Resistance: Reflections on Anarchy and Spirituality, in our chapter. So, meditation, the act or process of meditating, a devotional exercise of or leading to contemplation, a contemplative discourse, usually on a religious or philosophical subject. So, the act or process of meditating, devotional exercise, leading to contemplation, contemplative discourse. We see twice there they mention contemplation. So this is what I want to focus on, is that meditation is essentially an act or a practice that gets you to a contemplative, mindful state of mind, state of being. Now, what does that mean? It means where you can sort of clear away the static and clear away the clutter and be in a place where, not where everything's perfect, where you're floating, on rainbows and, your life works beautifully and you have no issues. No, it's simply just getting to that state of mind, however brief, where you can be present in the moment and have time to contemplate and to consider and to really take a balanced look at your life and your circumstances and surroundings. And it's also, of course, a state of relaxation. Some would say it's our natural state, that we're actually pulled away from that. And this meditation, most often though, it takes form in the way we see in these pictures here, which is somebody sitting down, cross-legged, with their hands, in some different position. These are called mudras, and they all have different meaning depending on what your belief system is, Buddhism, Hinduism, and what type of meditation it is. So these are all different types of meditation poses. There's various sects of Buddhism that have different types of meditations that go along with different meanings. You can see a monk here sitting meditating. This is from Thailand, a Buddhist monk. And so generally, these people are coming to sit, to still their mind, to have time to get away from the busyness of the world. And meditation has really taken on a rise in the Western world since the 60s, really since the 50s and 60s, when Buddhism and Eastern thought was first brought to America and really started to become popularized, specifically Buddhism. Now, I have been educated in through my own reading and through going to the Houston Zen Center, listening to lectures from various Zen masters and Zen speakers, and my own meditation practice. That's my most, large understanding comes from Zen. And with Zen was basically, well, let me back up for a second. Buddhism itself, of course, is of the teachings of the Buddha, Siddhartha. And he was said to have been a prince, and he went through both sides of life. The really extreme aesthetic, renouncing everything, almost starving himself, and lived in royalty and all these things, and eventually settling upon the middle path. And he came to the middle path when one day he was meditating under the Bodhi tree, and he achieved enlightenment and began teaching. And so over the years after his death, Buddhism split off into various forms in different countries. And you have some like Tibetan Buddhism, there's a lot of different gods and there's a lot of rituals. Well, as I said, I'm most familiar with Zen. Zen was basically a rejection of all that. It was like, okay, we've got a lot of rituals, we got books, we have all this stuff now, and these are helpful to keep us mindful and aware of the Buddha as the Buddha's thought. But Zen was like, what really matters is meditating. That's what Buddha was doing when he achieved enlightenment. That's what we need to focus on. So Zen focuses on zazen, which is to sit. It's meditation. So that's what I've learned a lot. And, just some background on that. And please, for those who might be more educated than me, I've been meditating inconsistently for going on 10 years now. And, but Zen and zazen it's really strict in some ways, and it's basically about trying to still the mind, constantly taking the mind to a place of balance in order to achieve liberation through, instantaneous liberation through recognition that everything is what it is, and this is kind of paradoxical thought that goes into Zen and the philosophy behind it. That's the form of meditation that we're dealing with here. So that's what I'm most familiar with. But at the same time, I also am open to a number of different types of meditation. And as I said, when you start to do your own research, you're going to see different people who advocate very strictly for their type of meditation. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think that all types of meditation can bring different types of responses. And if you're trying to learn from a very specific type of philosophy or religion or spiritual practice or meditation, then yeah, maybe following their strict guidelines to achieve what they say you can achieve through that path is necessary. And I like to learn from all these various forms, because maybe within the form, the set of one single meditation, when you go down to sit at your mat, or to sit, outside, or to sit wherever you sit, you might go through a range of them. So let me give you some background though on just a little bit of Zen. So you're going to be sitting down on your butt with your legs crossed. And as I said, you can do half lotus or full lotus, which is where both your legs are crossed over the other, or maybe you just have one. And then you put your hands down in front of you. You can put your hands down resting on your knees, or, closed hands together on your lap, or you can do one of the various mudras, which have different meanings. Look into those and kind of look what feels right to you. And, often what people will say is, I have trouble meditating, I don't know how to. And this is why I want to define, what it is. It's as we said, it's a practice that brings you to a contemplative state of mind. Sidebar real quick here before I get into types of meditation and ways to meditate. I want to read you something briefly from my book, because as I said, we mentioned meditation in our chapter 7, which is on conscious healing. And this section here basically is just going to touch on yoga, meditation, and breathing and shamanism. So I want to read this to you real quickly here. Despite the apparent differences in the practices, meditation, yogic breathing, and the trance produced through shamanic exercises seem to create a similar state of mind. Meditation itself is a practice as old as human life. As long as human beings have been conscious, we have come to nature for quiet contemplation and reflection. Over time, a great number of meditation practices have been developed, each with its own instructions and insights. While we value and respect these individual methods, we note that nearly any experience can be meditative. There is something to be said for a balanced posture and proper breathing, but a bike ride, a walk under the stars, writing poetry, or any practice that offers individual quiet time within your own heart and mind can be considered a form of meditation. The consistent application of bringing one's attention to the present moment is key to any form of meditation. Remaining in the present moment, either through counting breaths, mantras, or contemplative thought, allows long dormant emotions to rise to the surface. From that point, an individual can assess how best to deal with the new data. So as I said there, to me, one of my favorite forms of meditation, besides literally, sitting down, like a sitting meditation, staring at the wall, clearing my mind for, 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, or sometimes longer sessions, is biking. Biking is hugely meditative for me. It's something I do nearly every day. I bike about 12 miles a day, and it gives me time to really process my thoughts. I find that some of my best ideas for videos or rants or essays or articles will come to me in those experiences. And that's important to remember. So we're going to focus for a moment on sitting meditations and types of those, and what your thought process can be in those. But you have to remember that it's not just sitting meditation. There's also, of course, laying meditation. There's walking meditation. These are a part of Zen. Zen does include a walking meditation practice. And so those are all different forms of those. But as I said, it can be anything. So maybe you get into this contemplative, mindful state of being when you're sewing, when you're playing music. Music is definitely a huge meditation. But what the sitting does and what is laying down does, as opposed to those other types of acts that you might do, like, maybe you love to ride your bike, but you're not necessarily thinking like, oh, I'm meditating out of this. You're just like, oh, wow, I feel good. I love, the endorphins that are released when I ride my bike and I get time to think. But what's coming to a regular place when you have, like, say, an altar or just, a seat cushion or even a pillow that you just know this is your space. You have a little sanctuary where you can keep the good vibes, the energy, whatever you want to say, around that area where you have a regular place to meditate. It allows you to go into that setting, into that mindset, and to know, okay, when I sit here, it's time to, put my cell phone away over there, clear myself of all distractions, and really get into that state of mind and be into that state of mind for a period of time. So that's what I want to shift now to. And just, some brief advice here is that we can come to sit at our table, at our altar or our pillow, our wall, whatever you choose, and do it as often as you can. I think that's helpful even for 5 minutes a day. If you're a super busy person and you're working in the office or you're working in the shop or whatever it is you do all day, when you come home and you're super exhausted and you got to take care of your family and cook food or eat food or, clean up your house, whatever it is, just make sure to give yourself 5 minutes a day, even just 5 minutes to go to your little space and to sit and relax your body. This is a one form of meditation that I do sometimes, is you just start from your toes and lay back, and one by one from, like, say, toes, like you're relaxing and just become conscious of your toes, kind of wiggle them. And I literally tried to move my consciousness to the toes, like feeling the toes and thinking about, like, wow, like, damn, like, without my toes, I couldn't do anything. And then moving your awareness to your feet, like just giving thanks and that notice, that appreciation, becoming conscious of that piece of yourself, one by one, your toes, your feet, then like your legs, your knees, thinking about all these pieces, really giving thanks. It sounds maybe silly to some of you, but I think it's something that's absolutely missing from our modern world. And it's that consciousness, awareness of ourselves in these individual pieces, but also in a whole, in a whole holistic fashion as part of this larger system. So, go up each of your body, and by the time you get to your head, I promise you, you are in just a state of relaxed bliss. You're just sitting there and just, like I said, focus on your attention on these pieces of you. And maybe through that, you start reflecting on your day. By the time you get through that and your whole body's relaxed, just think about your day from beginning to end, and start to think of, I like to ask people when I'm with friends just randomly, so guys, what's one thing you're all thankful for today? Or what was the best part of your day today? Just get people thinking, just get them to stop for a moment. And that's what you can do for yourself, is just to stop there in that moment and really process these thoughts and be, wow, yeah, oh, I forgot. And I find, you start thinking about your whole day and everything you did and all the conversations you encountered and the people you encountered. And you remember things that you forgot throughout the day, through your busy day. You're like, oh, wow, yeah, I run into so-and-so. We had this great conversation. I totally forgot about that. It's powerful. It's simple and it's powerful. So that's important. If you don't have time to literally go sit down cross-legged and face a wall. Some people like to have their eyes open. Some people like to have their eyes closed. Some people, you're maybe 5 or 6 feet from the wall and you stare at soft gaze at a spot 3 or 4 feet in front of you, and you just relax. Some people say they don't know how to start meditating. A good, easy practice is just to focus on your breathing. So you're sitting down, cross-legged, you got your hands on your knees or hands in front of you. Straight back posture is important. Sitting back, relax upright on your hips, sitting up, and just breathe in. And while you're breathing in, just think 1. And breathe out 1. Breathe in and you're thinking 2, and just do that. And it's a really slow process. And within a couple of tries, you're going to be thinking, oh, I'm really hungry. What should I have? Oh, or I got to do this for work later. It's okay. You're going to find yourself veering off the path of meditation. People say that to me often, like, man, I hear you write about meditation or talking about how much it helped you and changed your life, or, as a tool that you can use. But I'm to this or that. And stop programming yourself to think negatively about yourself. Also, I think we need to stop surrounding ourselves with so much distractions. We constantly, and I'm definitely guilty of this. But before you're going to try to meditate, you don't just go straight from like watching 10 different things on YouTube, listening to the radio, and, interacting with people to just walk into a quiet room and start meditating. You have to kind of prep yourself to get to the meditative state of mind. So start, stilling your mind, get away from the computer or whatever for a minute, the TV, Netflix, and just kind of relax, get yourself pre-meditative ready to like really prepare. Okay, like I'm breathing, let me just clear my thoughts of everything. And eventually you'll have an easier time at that, but you still will find yourself thinking of things, and that's fine. What I try to do and what I've learned is, you see your thoughts like passing clouds. So they're drifting by and you notice them, you find yourself, oh, I'm thinking about work again. Okay, well, let me thank you, work. Let me take that and set it aside, and it just keeps floating by, and then center yourself again, and it just starts your breath counting again. And you might never get above 5, but it's still helpful. Just keep going back to it, keep centering yourself. And this is something that becomes easier over time. But also, even if you don't think it's helping you, I promise you it is. What happens is basically over a while, your meditation, your direct form of meditation, sitting, laying, biking, whatever you are conscious of a meditative practice, trying to bring yourself to contemplation and to mindfulness, it becomes much easier to do this out of those experiences. So when you have difficult discussions and conversations and somebody's attacking you or whatever, you can take yourself to that balanced standpoint and say, you know what? Be the Buddha in every moment. I'm going to just hear what they're saying. I don't like the way they're talking to me. I don't like this experience, the feelings it's bringing up in me, but I'm going to look at them and recognize them and see the power in them and own them, rather than letting them control me and letting my ego let me react. So it becomes easier in this process to be in that more meditative state of mind by having a regular practice. And I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you. I'm not coming to you as somebody who believes he's a Zen master and has it all figured out. But so yeah, you're gonna have your thoughts veering back and forth. It's okay. Bring yourself back to center. So that's when you're trying to clear your mind, right? You're trying to just be there and just breathe and have different practices. Maybe you have a mantra. Some people have words they repeat to themselves to kind of keep their mind on that. And again, you find yourself veering off, just come back to your word. So there's that. But there's also another form of meditation that I find is helpful, and that is actually just still coming down and sitting and staring at the wall or sitting at your space and just being in the good spot, but actually letting those thoughts come up and then sitting there with no other distractions but those thoughts. Because that's the thing, is sometimes when we have painful situations or hurtful situations, we do whatever we can to distract ourselves from actually dealing with them, rather than processing them and getting stronger by healing from them. So in the meditative state of mind, you can clear away all the other distractions and just be there and be like, okay, well, yeah, I've got this job situation, I need to deal with. I hate my job. I've got this job offer or this relationship or whatever it may be, the struggle that you are currently dealing with, big or small. Just take the time to sit there and be, okay, I'm going to sit here. And it's not about conquering this thing, but it's like, I'm going to sit here and put my mind to this and really let all my feelings come to the surface and think about it and process it and get clear-headed and try to come to a decision. And now that's a helpful thing. I'll do that as well. Sometimes in one meditation, I start with the mind clearing and counting my breath for a while. And then again, as thoughts come up, if a thought continues to come up and you say thank you and you put it aside, maybe if something continues to come up, that's a sign that you should either deal with it right then, and then maybe you start processing, okay, I keep thinking about my mom, let me think about this. Or you just, after your meditation and after you've cleared your mind, okay, well, I kept thinking about this situation. Now that I'm done with my, meditation, let me sit here and meditate on this situation. So there's a number of different ways to go about that. Some people also prefer music during their meditation. They feel like it helps them relax. Others do not. And I would say in more of like a Zen monastery and a center setting, there's not going to be music. It's going to be real quiet and still. But when you're in your own home and your own meditation groups, you can choose to do what you will. Another form of meditation that's helpful for me is drumming, percussion. I play djembe and several other drums. And this is something else I touch in my book. It's that state of entrainment, the trance state. It can come from repetition, whether it's that yogi, meditating, or the counting of your breath that's bringing you back to the present moment, or the drum beat, dun, 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 the repetition. So these are all different forms of meditation and entrainment that can get your mind to a really clear-headed state and allow you to help process and think about things. Now, again, with a Zen state of mind, they would say in Zen, there is no goal. So if you're starting out with meditation because you're like, this is going to help me with my anger, this is going to help me achieve enlightenment, then some would say you're already on the wrong path. But at the same time, those things will happen as a process. Like I said, you can definitely learn how to process your emotions better, to control your anger, to control your reactions. You get more relaxed. It's easier to just deal with things. You're never going to come to a state of enlightenment where life fucking works out perfectly and you're floating on rainbows and all blissed out. But no, you can still come to a place where you have a better ability to process and deal with those situations that do arise. So, yeah, we covered that what meditation is. We covered different types of meditations, some ideas. As I said, starting with the feet and going up to the head, just kind of bringing your consciousness there and giving thanks to each of that. That's good to do whether you're sitting or laying. I think it's helpful when you're laying because you can kind of really just completely relax and just melt down. And a lot of sitting meditations are good for me. So find something that works for you. And even if you are somebody that thinks it's that static, find a place. I promise you, everybody has the ability to meditate. It's not something that you can't do. You can do it. It's just about finding a way to get yourself into that groove. And I promise you there are many, many benefits to it waiting on the other side for you. This has been proved in study after study, scientifically, that there are benefits to us meditating. And I would say that Buddhism and the long history of Eastern traditions of meditation and traditions all over the world have proved that time and time again. So that's my bit on meditation. I wish you happy meditating, friends. Please do consider that, and speaking